Hey guys, I know I said that you wouldn't hear from me for a few weeks because I'm still recovering from my very serious, life-threatening sort of illness, and we're still trying to work out all the medication and everything that I need to do. But I am going to suffer through the headache because I am really sensitive to light right now to talk about this very, very serious subject that is happening today. Today, September the 10th, is also known as World Suicide Prevention Day, and I couldn't not make a video for this day. It is a subject that is obviously very, very close to me, and that has also had a very, very big impact in my life. And last year I was asked by a lot of you guys to talk about my suicide attempt, which I did, and it was extremely hard to do. And I was trying to think what I could talk about for this year, because I obviously just didn't want to repeat what I did last year. But I will link my suicide video in this video somewhere as well. Despite what a lot of people think, suicide is serious. It is serious. It's not. People don't do it for attention, because suicide is a hard thing to do. And I know a lot of people think it's as easy as swallowing a bunch of pills, cutting yourself, hanging yourself, and other options like that. But mentally, you have to be prepared for what you're going to do. And that is really, really hard. Suicide gets a bad reputation. People don't understand it, so they make fun of it. And people get scared and awkward when they hear about the word suicide or suicidal or suicide attempts, because they just don't know how to deal with that word. It's very misunderstood and it's given a really bad reputation. As you guys know, that I had a big suicide attempt that I talked about last year, and I had taken a bunch of pills. I made sure everyone was at the house and all that. And what stopped me and made me throw up the pills was an episode of Glee playing by accident. But that day is like a slideshow in my head. It never ever, and probably will never ever go away. That day will always be a part of me, because that was the day where I was willing to make a very, very serious decision, and I was okay with that. I have a suicide folder that I've talked about before that's on my computer. It's all password protected so no one can get in, and I still look at that and I can see what I wrote and stuff that I'd put in that folder, and I'd noted down a few feelings I was feeling at the time. And when I look back and I still feel some of those feelings, I even think to myself, have I really not come that far? Have I really still got those feelings that made me want to commit suicide back then? You know, have I really not made such a big leap from where I was all that time ago? And that is a dangerous route to go down, because that then leads you to thinking about that suicide attempt. And for people who have tried it and obviously survived it, you start to think about the what ifs of the world. That would your family be better off? Would the world be better off? And that's a dangerous route, because I think about that day all the time. It's with me always. And sometimes I would be having a really, really bad day, and I'm like, why did I not go through with it? I could have avoided all this if I'd just done it. And especially with this illness that's happened in this past week, that has really got me, has just like, oh God, I could have avoided this if I'd just done it. Why didn't I go through with it? And I can be in my bedroom and I could be sit on my bed, and obviously I take tablets anyway for my other physical illness, and now I'm on more for this one, and I can look across because they're sort of stored opposite me, and I can just look at them and I'm like, it would be so easy and so simple to do it again. I have the material to do it. I've got all the tablets to do it, and I know I can do it because I've done it once before. So why not? But somehow I get through those feelings and I power through and I continue to live another day. To me, even thinking about suicide is an extremely brave thing to do, because a lot of people honestly think it's so simple and people are doing it for attention when you're not. But when you think about ending your own life, it's serious, because people don't understand how desperate and how much pain and how much sadness and how empty you feel, that the only option you see is to want to kill yourself. And it's heartbreaking to even think about a place where I was there when I saw no hope, where I couldn't remember who I was. I could look in the mirror and I saw a stranger, and I just felt empty and sad, and every day was just like a nightmare and I couldn't face it. And suicide may kill your body, but the pain and sadness that you go through to get to suicide killed you long time before. It killed your personality, it killed your soul, it killed what makes you you a long time ago. Before I committed suicide, I wasn't me. I was a stranger. I didn't laugh, I didn't smile, I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't want to wake up the next morning. I remember going to bed thinking, oh, I wish I just wouldn't, when I open my eyes, I don't open my eyes in the morning. And then I'd be disappointed when I open my eyes the next day. And that's what killed me. That destroyed me. It took everything that I had to offer and it tore it down. And it broke me till the only option I had left was suicide. And I think it's a brave thing to do, to think about suicide, because it's obviously a very, very hard thing to do, but do I think it's the right option? No. It's brave when you are thinking about it, because it shows how strong you are, that even through all the pain and sadness, you've still got, you're still in control, you still have that power, you can still make decisions, and it sort of shows you that when you think about it. But do I think suicide is the right thing to do? No. For some people, it may be, but for how I feel, I am most days very, very glad that Glee stopped me from doing it. But for people like me who have survived the suicide attempt, you aren't the person you are, whether you chose to survive it or people had to pump your stomach or do whatever like that. You're different from the day when you tried it, before you tried suicide, because you are now capable of killing yourself. You are capable of murdering yourself. You willingly sat down or did the necessary things to kill yourself and was happy to do it. And you now have to live with that feeling, knowing that you're capable of doing that. You are capable of ending your own life and not having a problem with that. And that still haunts me even today, that I can do that. That now, if I wanted to do it, I don't think I'd even have that nervousness of even thinking about it or doing that. I know that I could do it because I've done it before. And it's not a nice feeling to have, because that feeling sticks with you every day from your suicide attempt. I know when you are contemplating suicide, it seems like there is no option. I know I felt like there was no option. I was just tired. I remember being so tired of being alive, being around and having to live a life. I was just tired. and I just wanted to get out of life. I didn't want to be a part of that life anymore. I wanted the pain to stop. I wanted the sadness to stop. I didn't want to feel anything anymore. And I just didn't want to wake up. That's the bit I find the hardest, is when people say, how do you get across to people who feel those feelings? And to me, no one got across to me, obviously. Family didn't, friends didn't, no one knew, obviously. No one got across to me. It was Glee, and I know a lot of people laugh at that, but it accidentally played, and for the first time I couldn't even remember the first time that I smiled or laughed. It made me smile, and I felt something other than pain. I didn't feel empty. It just sent like this jolt of happiness through me, and I smiled, and I remember sort of giggling a little bit, and I was like, whoa, hold on, what the hell was that sound coming out of my mouth? And that jolt of emotion was enough for me to snap me out of it and go, what the hell are you doing? And obviously I threw up all the tablets. But sometimes that's all it takes, is a tiny little jolt of something. Whether it is a jolt from listening to a song or a music, or just telling somebody, or somebody's story that they've gone through it before, or talking to someone. But all you need when you are in that dark place of nothingness and you're tired and you just want life to end, all you need is just a single jolt of emotion to happen to you to make you feel something other than that. And that little jolt is what helps you get started on your journey to recovery. That little jolt gives you a bit of hope. It reunites that courage. And it makes you believe that you can feel something other than the pain that you're going through right now. And that's what happened to me. And what I've decided to do from my jolt is obviously create this support group for people who are feeling and going through things with mental illness. But I also decided to fight, because I look back and think back and I read the suicide folder and I look back and think, what the hell, what happened? What happened to the girl that would take no crap from anybody? What happened to the girl that would stand up for herself and people around her? And what happened to the girl that would fight? And that helped reignite that fire in me, that even on my dark days now, when I look across and I see those tablets and I think it would just be so easy to end the pain, and when I read that folder and see that I haven't got that far from the place of suicide, I still have that jolt of emotion in me that keeps me going. I read people's stories, I listen to music that helps keep me going, because no one can do it alone. Despite what you think you can fight this by yourself, you can't. And whether it is help from a friend, a family member, or whether it's a stranger through the internet, a counsellor, or whether it is listening to music or escaping in the world of a book or a TV show that helps you just get that jolt of emotion going, that's all you need. But don't let it consume you. And don't let yourself be dragged down into that pit of emptiness and tiredness, where you will then have to make a decision that, if you survive it, will stay with you for the rest of your life, and you'll also have that feeling knowing that you are capable of that. And believe me, it's not a feeling you want. I often hate myself for doing it. When I have said that I look back and I see that I still feel some things, of course I still feel some things. It is a hell of a long journey. I have got this mental illness for the rest of my life, and I'm gonna feel some of those feelings for the rest of my life. But the one thing that is changed between the Chloe then and the Chloe now is that Chloe decided to give up and try suicide, and this Chloe now is deciding to fight like hell through the physical illnesses, through the mental illnesses, and she is talking to a camera to help other people with mental illness. The difference is that I'm fighting like hell to survive, and I am fighting to see tomorrow, and I'm not gonna let myself be dragged into that pit again, because I don't want to have to make that decision again. I don't. So when you feel like suicide might be the only option for you, just try to lose yourself in something, whether it's reading other people's suicide stories or mental health stories, whether it's TV shows or music, just to get that jolt of emotion. And when you feel that jolt of emotion going through you, you will realize that there's something more to you than all this emptiness and pain, and that will give you the hope to carry on for tomorrow. Now, I know I've rambled on, but this subject is very close to my heart and a very big thing, and it's a special day, and this video is probably always going to be long for the years to come when I do these videos. And I hope that by me talking about my feelings towards suicide and the suicide story that I'll put somewhere in the video, that it can help some of you guys think about suicide, understand suicide more, and maybe not do it, and try to fight for yourselves. I just want to end this video by thanking everybody for the lovely, lovely messages about my illness. It came as a huge shock. I thought it was literally a headache or a migraine. I'd never really had one before. And the next thing you know, you go to a doctor and you're being whisked to hospital and stayed in, and it's just, I'm getting through it, and it's hard, but hopefully I will be back on this page soon, as soon as we get it all figured out with the meds and what's all causing it. So thank you guys very, very much, and remember to share your stories and talk about suicide on this day, because one day every year, suicide is an open subject where you don't have to be afraid to mention it, and you don't have to be scared to not understand it. It's a day where you can speak up about it. So tell somebody or read someone's stories and leave a positive comment, and let's get the awareness out there all about suicide. So thanks guys, I'll see you soon.